How to be happy when life is not. What if real happiness has nothing to do with having a perfect life and everything to do with how you relate to this exact moment, even when it hurts? What if you could lose a job, go through heartbreak, face anxiety, and still access a quiet place inside you that doesn't break with everything else? In this video, you'll discover 10 Buddhist teachings that show you how to do exactly that. How to suffer less, react with more wisdom, and find a deeper kind of peace that doesn't depend on everything going right. You'll learn why everything passes, how not to believe every thought, how to breathe through chaos, how to be kind to your own pain, and how small daily practices can completely change your inner world. You don't need to become a monk or escape your responsibilities. You only need a few moments of honest attention and the willingness to experiment with these teachings in your real life. At work, in conflict, alone with your thoughts at night. So, if happiness is not about controlling life, where does it really come from? Let's begin with the first teaching. Lesson 1. Everything that arises will also pass. Have you noticed how the moments that once felt unbearable are now just memories? A breakup that shattered you, an exam that terrified you, a day when you were sure you would not make it. At the time, the pain seemed permanent, and yet, here you are, still breathing. Impermanence is the first key to being happy in any situation. In Buddhist wisdom, it is said, everything that arises will also pass. Every emotion, every success, every failure, every season of your life is in constant movement. Nothing stays exactly the same, not even for a second. Imagine someone who loses their job unexpectedly. At first, there is panic. My life is over, there is no way out. Days feel heavy, and the mind repeats catastrophic stories. But slowly, tiny changes appear. A friend calls with an idea. A new opportunity shows up. Skills that were hidden begin to surface. Months later, that person looks back and realizes that what felt like the end was actually a beginning in disguise. Impermanence does not erase the reality of pain, but it whispers a vital truth. This, too, is a chapter, not the whole book. When you remember this, even your suffering becomes a little more spacious. You can breathe through it instead of drowning in it. You can practice this right now. The next time a difficult emotion appears, anger, sadness, fear, say silently, "This feeling has arisen and it will also pass." Notice how it moves in your body, like a wave that grows, reaches a peak, and slowly loses strength. You are the awareness that witnesses the wave, not the wave itself. The same is true for joy and success. Knowing they are temporary does not make them less precious, it makes them more sacred. You stop clinging and start appreciating. Instead of asking, "How do I make this moment last forever?" you ask, "How can I be fully here while it lasts?" If everything, absolutely everything, is destined to change, then the real question becomes, how can we love and live deeply without being destroyed every time life asks us to let go? We will explore that in the next teaching. Lesson 2. You are not your thoughts. Have you ever noticed how your mind can ruin a perfectly normal day without anything on the outside changing? You wake up, the weather is fine, your body is okay, and then a single thought appears. I'm a failure. Suddenly, your chest tightens, your energy drops, and the day feels heavy before it even starts. Buddhist wisdom points to a radical truth. You are not your thoughts. Thoughts are mental events that arise and pass, like clouds moving through the sky. They are not the sky itself. Yet most of us live as if every thought were an unquestionable fact, especially the painful ones. Imagine a woman sitting on a bus after making a mistake at work. Her mind starts a familiar movie. I always mess things up. Everyone is better than me. My boss probably hates me. As the bus moves through the city, nothing objectively terrible is happening. But inside her head, she is living a private storm. Her shoulders tense, her breathing becomes shallow, and she feels small and hopeless. Now picture the same woman, but with one small skill. When the first harsh thought arises, "I always mess things up," she silently adds, "I am noticing the thought that I always mess things up." That tiny phrase creates distance. She is no longer inside the thought, she is observing it. The storm is still there, but she has found a place to stand that is not made of thunder. You can try this practice yourself. When a strong judgment appears, "I am not enough," "This will never work," "Nobody cares," pause for a moment. Feel your feet on the ground. Then say in your mind, "I am noticing the thought that," and repeat the phrase. Notice how, for a split second, you become the watcher instead of the victim. From this perspective, thoughts lose some of their power. You realize they are proposals, not orders. Some are useful, some are nonsense, many are old recordings from your past. You don't need to fight them or force them to stop. You simply allow them to visit without letting them rule your life. If you are not your thoughts, then what are you? What is this quiet awareness that can observe fear, sadness, and joy without being destroyed by them? We will look more deeply into that in the next teaching. Lesson 3. Discover the quiet witness within. Have you ever had the sense that part of you is watching everything, even while your emotions are on fire? Maybe you were extremely angry, saying things you later regretted, and at the same time a small voice inside whispered, "This is not really you." That quiet sense of witness is the third key. In Buddhist practice, we learn to recognize pure awareness, the open space in which thoughts, sensations, and emotions appear and disappear. Imagine the sky again. Yesterday it was cloudy. Today it is clear. Tomorrow it may storm. But the sky itself is not harmed by any of these changes. In the same way, awareness is never stained by what passes through it. Picture a man stuck in traffic after a long, exhausting day. His mind is crowded. "I'll be late again. My boss will be furious. My life is a mess." His body tightens. His hands grip the steering wheel. His jaw clenches. Suddenly, he remembers a simple instruction from a meditation he once tried. Notice what is happening right now. He takes a deeper breath. He feels the pressure of his back against the seat. He hears the distant sound of a horn, the soft vibration of the engine. He notices the storm of thoughts crossing his mind. For a brief moment, something shifts. Instead of being the stressed driver, he becomes the space that is aware of a stressed driver. The situation outside is the same, but inside a little bit of freedom appears. You can experience this too. Right now, notice your body, your feet, your hands, your face. Notice any emotion present. Maybe calm, maybe impatience, maybe curiosity. Now ask silently, what is aware of all this? Don't try to find a perfect answer. Simply feel the sense of being the one who knows, the one who perceives. That knowing presence is like a still lake beneath the waves of daily life. When you rest, even for a few seconds as this witnessing awareness, problems don't magically vanish, but you stop being completely fused with them. You realize, there is anger here, but I am more than my anger. There is fear here, but I am more than my fear. From this place, wiser choices become possible. Of course, the challenge is not to touch this awareness once in a quiet moment, but to return to it again and again in ordinary situations. When someone criticizes you, when plans fail, when anxiety rises without warning. So how can you reconnect with this quiet witness in the middle of a busy, noisy day, when you don't have time to sit on a cushion? That is exactly what we will explore in the next teaching. Lesson 4. One conscious breath can change your inner weather. Have you noticed how you can spend hours trapped in your head, but forget that you have a body and a breath? When stress rises, the mind usually screams, think faster, solve more, control everything. Yet in Buddhist practice, the first doorway back to peace is much simpler, one conscious breath. Imagine a young man about to enter a difficult meeting. His heart is racing, his mind is full of worst-case scenarios. They will judge me, I will fail, this will end badly. He is seconds away from speaking, but inside, he is collapsing. Then he remembers a tiny tool his teacher gave him. Before reacting, take one slow, deliberate breath. He gently inhales through the nose, feeling the air fill his chest. He exhales a little longer than he inhaled. For a brief moment, time expands. The thoughts are still there, but they are no longer driving the car. His shoulders drop slightly. His voice, when he finally speaks, comes out steadier, more human. You can try this anywhere, in the supermarket line, on a video call, sitting on your bed at night. Inhale for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 6. While you breathe, silently say, inhale, I arrive here. Exhale, I let go a little. This does not magically erase your problems, but it gives you a micro-pause, a sacred second in which you can choose a wiser response instead of repeating an automatic reaction. If one conscious breath can soften a tense moment, what happens when you bring this same gentle presence to your most painful emotions? That is what we will explore in the next teaching.
Lesson 5. Turn toward your pain with kindness. What do you usually do when a difficult emotion appears? Fear, jealousy, shame? Most of us either run from it or drown in it. We distract ourselves with screens, food, work, or we identify completely with the pain and let it define us. I am broken. I am worthless. I am unlovable. Buddhist wisdom proposes another path. Turn toward your pain with kindness. Imagine a woman who receives a message that triggers intense jealousy. Her stomach tightens, her chest burns, her mind starts comparing. I will never be like them. I am always behind. Normally, she would scroll for hours or attack herself with harsh thoughts. This time, she tries something different. She puts the phone down for just 1 minute. She notices the jealousy as a physical sensation, heat in the chest, pressure in the throat. Gently, she places a hand over her heart and whispers in her mind, "It's okay to feel this. This is jealousy. Many human beings feel this." Instead of fighting the emotion, she makes space for it, like a patient host welcoming a difficult guest. You can practice the same. When a strong emotion arises, name it softly. Here is sadness. Here is anger. Here is fear. Then, if you can, add a phrase of kindness. May I be gentle with myself in this moment. You are not pretending that everything is fine. You are simply refusing to abandon yourself while you suffer. Little by little, the emotion may still hurt, but it stops feeling like an enemy. It becomes a messenger, showing you where you are wounded, where you need care, where something important matters. If learning to hold your own pain with kindness changes your inner world so deeply, what happens when you extend this same compassionate gaze to the people around you, even the difficult ones? We will explore that in the next teaching. Lesson 6. Every being wants to be happy. Have you noticed how, beneath all our strange behaviors, almost everyone is trying to feel okay, to suffer a little less, to be a little more at peace? This simple truth is at the heart of Buddhist compassion. Every being wants to be happy and avoid pain, just like you. Picture a man in a supermarket line. In front of him, a woman is clearly irritated, speaking harshly to the cashier. His first reaction is anger. What a terrible person! Why is she so rude? His chest tightens, his jaw hardens. Then he remembers a phrase from a teaching. Just like me, this person wants to be happy. He takes a soft breath and silently repeats, "She also wants to be loved. She also has bad days. She may be carrying a pain I cannot see." Suddenly, the image of her changes. She is no longer a villain in his story, but another tired human being struggling through the day. The situation outside is the same, but his heart is less contracted. You can try this with anyone, a colleague, a stranger, even someone who hurt you. Without denying the harm, you can still recognize their fragile humanity. Silently say,
Just like me, this person wants to be happy. Just like me, this person has known fear and loss. Compassion does not mean allowing abuse or pretending everything is fine. It means refusing to dehumanize others, even when you set clear boundaries. When you see the shared wish for happiness, the world becomes less me versus them and more all of us learning how to live. If every being is seeking happiness in clumsy, imperfect ways, what happens when you finally recognize that you are responsible for the inner world from which your actions come? That is the doorway we will open in the next teaching. Lesson 7. Your inner world is your real home. Where do you actually live? Not your street or your city, but the place where you spend almost all your time. You live inside your inner world, your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and reactions. This is the house you carry everywhere. Imagine two colleagues who both receive the same email. Their project has been rejected. The first one immediately collapses inside. I'm useless, everything is ruined, they don't value me. He spends the rest of the day in a cramped inner room filled with resentment and self-hate. The second colleague also feels the sting of disappointment. Her chest tightens, her mind protests. But after a few breaths, she tells herself, "This hurts, yes, and still I can learn from it. This is not the end of my value." The outer situation is identical. The inner climate is completely different. Buddhism teaches that while you cannot control everything that happens outside, you do have a growing responsibility for how you relate to it inside. Each moment you are planting seeds in your inner garden. Seeds of bitterness or understanding, of blame or curiosity, of hatred or compassion. Over time, those seeds become the default atmosphere of your life. This is not about blaming yourself for negative emotions. It is about remembering that you are not just a victim of circumstances. You are also a participant in how your experience is shaped. With every breath, you can ask, is this reaction creating more suffering or more clarity? If your inner world is your real home, and each reaction is a brick you place in its walls, how can you train your mind and heart day by day so that this home becomes a more peaceful place to live in? We will explore that in the next teaching. Lesson 8. Small daily practices shape your destiny. We often wait for a big moment to change our life, a retreat, a crisis, a revelation. But Buddhist practice quietly insists on something much less glamorous and far more powerful. What you repeat every day shapes who you become. Imagine a woman who feels constantly overwhelmed. She tells herself, "When I finally have time, I'll meditate, I'll take care of my mind." Weeks pass, then months. Work is busy, family needs her, fatigue grows. One night, exhausted, she remembers a simple suggestion from a teacher. Start with 3 conscious breaths every morning. Just 3. The next day, before touching her phone, she sits on the edge of the bed. Feet on the floor, spine soft, she takes 3 slow breaths. For those brief moments, she is not a worker, not a mother, not a problem solver. She is simply a human being breathing. The whole day is not magically perfect, but something subtle shifts. She feels 1% less reactive, 1% more present. She repeats this tiny ritual the next day and the next. A week later, she adds 1 minute of watching her breath. After a month, she notices she gets less hooked by every negative thought. The external chaos is similar, but her inner muscles are stronger. This is how the path really works, not through dramatic transformations, but through small, almost invisible choices repeated with kindness. 1 conscious breath, 1 moment of not believing a cruel thought, 1 act of compassion instead of judgment. These are like drops of water that over time carve solid rock. You don't need to design the perfect spiritual routine. You only need to choose 1 or 2 simple practices you can actually keep and return to them when you forget. Progress in this path is not measured by intensity, but by gentle persistence. Yet there is a subtle trap here. When we start practicing regularly, the ego quietly sneaks back in and says, "Now I'm improving. Now I must see results. Now I must control my growth." So how do you walk this path with commitment without turning it into another rigid project of control and perfectionism? That is what we will explore in the next teaching.
Lesson 9. Let go of control. Keep your responsibility. Have you noticed how much of your suffering comes not from what happens, but from how tightly you try to control everything? We want people to act the way we imagine, plans to unfold exactly as we designed, emotions to obey our schedule. When reality refuses to cooperate, we feel betrayed. Buddhist wisdom invites a different balance. Let go of control, but keep your responsibility. You cannot command life, but you can take full ownership of how you meet it. Imagine a man preparing an important presentation. He spends days rehearsing every word, obsessing over each slide. Secretly, he believes, if I do everything perfectly, no one will criticize me, nothing will go wrong. On the big day, the projector fails. Someone interrupts with a harsh question. His voice trembles. Inside, he collapses. All this effort was for nothing. Now imagine he approached it differently. He still prepares with care, but before the meeting he tells himself, "I will offer the best I can today, and I accept that some things will be out of my hands." When the projector fails, he feels the stress spike, takes one conscious breath and says with a half smile, "Looks like we start with a little improvisation." The situation is still messy, but inside he is less imprisoned. You can practice this in any area of life. Ask, what is truly my responsibility here, and what is not? Your responsibility is your effort, your honesty, your presence, your kindness. Not your responsibility, other people's reactions, the past, the weather of the world. Letting go of control does not mean passivity. It means acting fully, then releasing your grip on the outcome. You bow to reality as it is, even as you work to improve what you can. If you are not the absolute controller of life, but also not a powerless victim, then what is the simplest and most powerful way to live all these teachings right now in this exact moment? That is what we will explore in the next teaching.
Lesson 10. Happiness grows where you place your attention. Have you noticed how two people can live almost the same day and come to completely different conclusions about their life? One goes to bed thinking, everything is wrong. The other whispers, today was imperfect, and still there was so much to be grateful for. The difference is not the external events, but where their attention rested. Buddhist practice reminds us, what you water with your attention grows. If you constantly feed thoughts of resentment, comparison, and fear, your inner world becomes a hostile place. If you give at least some of your daily attention to presence, kindness, and gratitude, your inner climate slowly warms. Imagine a man riding the subway home. He is exhausted, scrolling through his phone, comparing his life to carefully edited images. The story in his head is familiar. Everyone is ahead. I am failing. His body slumps, his mood darkens. Then, almost out of boredom, he decides to experiment. He puts the phone away and looks around. He notices a child laughing in the next seat, an old woman holding a bag of groceries with quiet determination, a stranger who offers their place to someone more tired. He feels his own breath moving in and out. For a moment, he silently says, "Thank you for this breath. Thank you for this body that carried me through the day. Thank you for the small kindnesses I received and didn't notice." Nothing dramatic happens, but the sharp edges of the day soften. The world feels a little less against him. You can try this at the end of your day. Before sleep, recall 3 small things you were grateful for. Not perfect, not huge, just real. A warm drink, a message from a friend, a moment of honesty with yourself. Let each one land in your chest like a gentle light. This is not denial of your problems. It is reclaiming your right to also see what is still good. Over time, this simple shift of attention becomes a way of living. You still feel pain, anger, sadness, but they are no longer the only story being told inside you. Space appears for appreciation, tenderness, and quiet joy, even in difficult seasons. If happiness grows where you place your attention, then how can you weave all these teachings together? Impermanence, awareness, compassion, practice, letting go, and gratitude into a single, simple way of walking through your life from this moment on. A different way to live. Happiness, in the Buddhist sense, is not about fixing every problem or making life perfect. It is about how you meet each moment, with a little more awareness, a little more kindness, a little less need to control everything. These 10 teachings are not ideas to admire, but tools to use. Maybe today you simply remember one conscious breath before reacting, or you whisper to yourself, "This too will pass." Or you look at a stranger and think, "Just like me, this person wants to be happy." Small gestures, repeated often, quietly change the way you live inside your own mind. If you feel that something in you is ready to go deeper, to calm the mind, to train your attention, to taste this peace more directly, don't let it stay as a nice theory. When this video ends, click on the video that appears on screen now. In it, we'll continue this journey together with a guided practice. So these teachings don't stay in your head, they start to live in your heart and in your everyday life.